What's up? What's up? Hello orchid fans, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I've got my Phalaenopsis Odorion. So it's a complex hybrid phal, and as you can see, the bloom spike is now fully spent, so there's no more flowers left on it. So we're gonna cut the spike, and I think it's actually time to get this baby repotted. It's growing new roots, and you can see it's got some nice root tips here, and I've got another smaller root right there with a nice root tip. It's been in this pot for a while, and I don't really like this pot because, you know, this media, it's quite, you can maybe even see it's quite dense, and yeah, I think it's got some dirt in it as well. This was the orchid mix that I got from garden center, and you know, it's just not very nice, and I'd like to get this orchid out of the pot, get rid of all the bad roots, and yeah, we'll see what we're left with and then get it repotted. So I'm currently thinking to maybe put it in LECA. Normally I probably wouldn't put phals in LECA. They don't seem to enjoy it too much, but the miniature phals, and this is one of them, it's quite a small phal. Oh guys, I'm just looking out the window, it's snowing so bad. Anyway, yeah, this small phal is, you know, they're usually a lot more thirsty, so I think it will actually enjoy LECA, and, you know, it will be able to get more moisture out of it, and hopefully it will grow even better. It is a really nice orchid. You can see it's got mottled leaves as well, and they're so beautiful. So you know, I would really be keen not to kind of kill it. So we'll see how it goes. So let me get you in closer and let's get this baby out the pot. So I hope you guys can see this better now. So yeah, let's get it out. I'm really hoping I can just put it back in a 9cm pot, because it's a miniature Phalaenopsis, and, you know, I've got very limited space. So I would prefer to kind of keep it in the same size pot, but we'll see what we've got. You can see the aerial roots on this orchid are extensive. They're just all over the place. So actually I'm thinking maybe just to cut this spike first so that I don't start bashing it around and then accidentally damage the orchid. So I'll get this off pretty close to the base. So that's the spike out the way, and hopefully that will be a little bit easier. So I'm just squeezing the pot just to kind of loosen up the roots from the pot, and hopefully try and get it out without damaging it. I've got this root here which came out through the pot on this side, but all of this is absolutely dried off. So I think I'm just gonna cut it now up to the point where it's healthy, and we'll see if we can feed it through the hole. If not, we'll just get it cut so that we don't, you know, try and save one root and then just lose the rest of the roots. So let's see what we can do here. I've got some live moss here as well, and we'll see if it actually gonna stay here, because I think it's probably growing on roots that are no longer viable. So if I cut the roots, I think that the moss will just kind of go with them anyway. So let's see if we can save these roots that are going through the pot. And this orchid hasn't been watered for a while. Today is the watering day for all my plants, so it's gonna get watered as well. And but you can see this media is pretty damp, you know, and it's not been watered for a while, so it never really dries off. And Usually the phals, you know, they don't really like that very much. And I have lost a couple roots which I'll get cut, and yeah, we'll see what we're left with. Some of the roots are kinked as well, so I don't think they will be doing too well, especially when we change the media. So but I mean, you know, the root system is not too bad on this, I don't think. So let's get rid of all these dead bits. So some of the roots will just have the dried tip, so I'll just cut the tips off. I won't cut the whole root. Phals are really, you know, they really annoy me when they grow. They can have like a really bad root at the base, but then at the end of it, it's pushed out some branches and they're all perfectly healthy, and I am never really sure if I should cut that root or if I should leave it, you know. So but to be honest, you know, I feel like better kind of safe than sorry, so I'd rather leave that root and just see what happens, and if it maybe just pushes it out. I can see some of the roots are branching as well, so that's good. That means that the root system is active, so it will hopefully be, you know, it will be easier for it to transition into LECA. Phals are quite famous for not really enjoying that transition to LECA, so I am a little bit nervous because I really like this orchid, and I only have 2 phals in my collection. One is a full-size phal, and then this is the second one, so you know, I really wouldn't want to lose it. So I don't know, I actually might maybe pot it in bark, even though you can see probably I've got LECA here next to me and that's the plan, but I might actually maybe put it in bark, to be honest, and just kind of keep it in the same media as what it had before. Although, to be honest, you know, when you repot your plants, a lot of the times, even if it goes back into the same media, you know, it doesn't guarantee that the roots are not going to object to it. It's just, you know, the actual repot they didn't like, so that is also possible. So yeah, so I'm still finding a few kind of dried off roots. I usually try not to cut into the healthy tissue so that, you know, I don't open potential wounds for any kind of infection. So I just cut the dried off tip, and I cut it to the point where it's, you know, about to get good. So you can see this one, you know, you can see there is still a black tip left, but the rest of the root is good. So, you know, I don't want to cut right into the healthy tissue. So I think the rest are probably okay. I mean, some of them are not looking good, but they are all firm, so you know, they should still do the job, and they might actually push out branches as well, you know, from these older roots. So I'm gonna keep them all, and that's our plant unpotted. So let me just run it under the tap very quickly and I'll be back. Alrighty, that's my Phalaenopsis all washed off. So you can see the roots greened up so nicely. Also the aerial roots are kind of, you know, started hanging down now. But I definitely not gonna put them in a pot. I'll leave them aerial. You know, I don't think they will enjoy, you know, going into the pot and just constantly wet environment. And I think that these aerial roots are gonna be a good kind of backup for the orchid, you know, when I'm putting it in LECA. If it's not gonna like it, or if these roots start failing, you know, it will have plenty of aerial roots to kind of support it in the meantime. So given, you know, the amount of roots, I think that I can safely put it in a 9cm pot. So I've got one ready here. I've already put the microfiber in so I don't forget about it, because I always do. And yeah, let's see if I put that in here, if it actually kind of fits. So I might be wrong, guys, but I think I am seeing a flower spike. So it's just right next to this new root over there. It's just about to start, so it's very hard to see, but I think it's a flower spike. So I think I'm repotting it just in time, because if it would have developed that flower spike more, you know, that would have been too late. So I think I'm actually just gonna, yeah, I'll just go with this 9 centimeter pot. It seems to be fitting pretty well in here. You know, some roots will probably not gonna make through it, but there will be new roots coming out, so I think it will do fine in this pot. So what I want to do is actually now try and get that microfiber up, because it's at the moment it's right at the bottom. So let me see if I can kind of grab it somehow and pull it up a bit without cutting through it. So some of the roots are trying to stick to it, but let's see. I hope I can pull it through a little bit. I think that will just be enough. So I'm kind of holding it with my fingers like that. It's just so that, you know, it just helps LECA to lick the water up a bit more. And my orchid just fell out of the pot while I was doing it, so let's try and push it back in. Yeah, so I think that will do. So let's see if I can kind of hold everything in place and also start pouring LECA in the pot. Yeah, third hand here would be super helpful. Okay, so I think this plant is not going to be, you know, in the middle of a pot, but that honestly doesn't matter. You know, phals grow from the top. They don't, you know, unless it pushes out a KK, it's not really going to grow sideways anyway. So it doesn't matter that, you know, the plant is kind of a little bit on the side of the pot. As long as the roots are fitting in well, that's really my main focus here right now. So I think I'm gonna put the bigger LECA at least at the bottom. Again, it's more just because the roots of the phal are quite big and fleshy, so I feel like small LECA will just be a little bit too much. I kind of want to still have some aeration in the pot, and I think bigger LECA will just work better. So I'm gonna try and pull that microfiber up again just a little bit, and we'll see if you can kind of keep holding it up while I'm putting the LECA in the pot. So I have to say, I mean, the root system on this phal, it looks pretty good, so I hope I'll be able to actually push the LECA down everywhere. So, you know, when you're potting your plants into bark, you kind of want to have air gaps in between. You know, with LECA, it's actually the opposite. You don't want to have air gaps at all, because the LECA is round. It will naturally have gaps in there anyway, but you know, if it will have too many gaps between the pieces, it won't be able to wick the water all the way. So, you know, it kind of loses its function really if it's got too many air gaps. So we'll see if we can kind of keep all this LECA nicely packed. At the same time, I obviously don't want to damage any roots, so you know, some of the gaps will stay in the pot, and I think that's okay. It will still hydrate the plant, I'm sure. All right, I think my phal is now repotted. So I've got, so you will see that, you know, the bottom of the pot, I don't know if I can tilt it without getting all the LECA out of there. But you will see here there is barely any LECA at the very bottom because there is just so many roots, and I didn't want to, you know, press the LECA hard to the bottom and, you know, potentially damage all these beautiful roots. So You know, there is a lot of gap basically here where there is so many roots, but I think that's okay, you know. And all these ear gaps, all the ear holes, they will kind of allow for the LECA around here to dry out quicker, so hopefully these roots are not going to object to it too much. I kept the stem of the orchid kind of high up, you know, and I didn't want to push LECA all the way up, so that again it doesn't kind of start rotting or you know, objecting to that. So I hope it will do well here, and you know, we will follow the progress, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It seems to you know, to kind of like what it's kind of getting at the moment, so I hope it's not going to object to LECA too much. And we will soon see if that is a flower spike that I showed you, or if it's maybe just a root. It's just so tiny, it's difficult to see. But yeah, we'll follow the progress of this beauty, of this little Phalaenopsis, and we'll see how it does. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, for watching the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!